Yeah, I'll always be a metalhead. Nothing can take that away from me.
Right.
I mean, not jail, not people, not religion, not anything. I'll always be a metalhead, 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 metalhead. You know what?
You're listening to the Great Metal Debate Podcast.
Full disclosure up front, I fancy myself a fan mostly of European metal, or at least bands that sound like they are from Europe, stylistically. So, when I review a modern metal band from the US, I do bring some biases to the table. With that admitted, where does New York's Monochromatic Black and their debut album, Pneuma, fit into the metal landscape in 2019? Well, after over a dozen times listening to this album from beginning to end, I find myself really appreciative of what Monochromatic Black is trying to accomplish musically, and am impressed with the nuts and bolts execution of their debut album. For stylistic reasons, this one probably won't make my list of best albums of the year, but I would still strongly recommend it as quality listening for any metalhead, and especially for fans of the range of extreme metal genres. I'll touch briefly on a few tracks. The album opener, Degradation, starts off with chugging, dissonant aggression, brutal breakdowns, screaming, and the band generally bashing the hell out of their instruments. Predictable rhythms be damned. This track will bulldoze you. The song Dreamcatcher alternately bombards you with a slow, heavy attack and a dark, haunting, melodic, clean vocal line. There's some great atmosphere on this one, and a bit of a change of the pace that I really enjoyed. Perhaps the most prog metalist track on the album. The vocal work on Phosphones was excellent. Killer growls, and a cool singing augmented with suspenseful, hard-hitting breakdowns. The music really builds on this track in a way I found exciting and compelling. There's some really solid guitar work going on here, not just your run-of-the-mill deathcore noodling. The album finale, The Herd, finishes things off with hints of melodic death metal style, up-tempo, progressive, and frenzied. This was my favorite track on the album, and the kind of song I would definitely want to hear live. One critique I had about this album is simply its length. At only 24 minutes of material in 6 tracks, it isn't much more than an EP. Also, there didn't seem to be much flow from one song to the next on this album, leaving the listener feeling you could swap out the placement of any track with any other and have essentially the same album. That said, every song had some riff, vocal line, or element that impressed me and I found memorable. The instruments were mixed well with solid guitar tone. There's definitely a hardcore influence to this album, which at times takes it outside my zone of comfort and familiarity, while others will find this very compelling. What Pneuma was trying to deliver in terms of music, I think it did successfully, but at times I wanted to hear more from these songs. There were some interesting progressive elements that showed up here, and I would really like to have heard Monochromatic Black expand on those. I can appreciate quick hitters, but would have liked a few songs to have had more length and room for the music to breathe. Ultimately, I gave this album an 8 out of 10 rating, which is probably undervaluing it. If you enjoy extreme metal styles, and particularly music that doesn't hold closely to any defined metal subgenre, I anticipate you'll find this to be a winner. You can purchase Pneuma from Monochromatic Black, and I encourage listeners to do just that via BigCartel.com as well as the Bandcamp app. And the band will be touring the Northeast U.S. this summer. Be sure to check them out delivering the brutality live in your city soon.